Hey gang, Bronco Carl 92 here. So it's Sunday, January 27th, and this is part 6 of the 4L80 rebuild. This should be the last installment. We're going to work on the valve body today, and the servos, put the pan on, and we should be pretty much done. So let me bring you over to it, and we'll get started. Okay, so first in will be our 1 to 2 accumulator right here. This is a new part that came with the kit that I got. I got a new seal on it, which came in the kit, and this is also a new spring. So I'm just going to dip it in a little bit of fluid. Just lay that in the bore. The transgo kit came with this steel spacer that goes on top. Next we have our reverse servo. That I've put new seals on also. Transgo kit came with this, they call this the orange spring. So the orange spring goes in here. And then this goes there. A little lube on there. And then here is the cover portion. And then steel gasket. Note that it fits one way. And then our cover. I recommend putting these in a star pattern, just so nothing gets cocked or wampus. And these get torqued to 18 Newton meters. Excuse me, 18 foot-pounds. Sorry about that. Let's go see how the valve body looks in the parts washer. Alright, so I got the valve body here out of the parts washer, and I'll start to strip it. Accumulator housing. These bolts are longer than I thought. Okay. There's an accumulator piston here. There's another one here. Let's give these a little math. Soak for a little bit. Take these two springs out. Lift our plate off. Transgo kit comes with a new plate. That's a great thing because this thing, it's got gasket fused to it and it's rusty, and now this gasket's on here pretty good too. And it's just completely falling apart. So let me put this thing in the parts washer and take this gasket off, and I'll be back with you in a sec. Alright, well, that took a while, but I have this all cleaned up here, and now we're going to start our Transgo valve body modifications, and we're going to switch out the solenoids and put this in the transmission. So first thing I have to do is I have to make a 3/16 hole into this passage here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to center punch this, and then start with an 1/8 inch bit and work my way up to 3/16. It's not really that easy. Okay, next. Let me get it out. Okay, discard original springs and plug. Install new Transgo blue outer and blue inner springs. Let's see. Slightly firmer shifts. Use blue outer blue, firmer. Okay, so. He doesn't want any firm shifts, he told me, because he's going to be running 35s in a 10 bolt, which I think is kind of silly. I think you should get a real man's rear for that truck, but I guess in due time. Okay. And I have to find the pin. Alright, so we found our missing pin. So this time we'll be a little more careful. So now we have to change the actuator filter in these two solenoids over here. Let's give this filter a little shove out. Sometimes these things can be just a little stubborn. Or in the case of this one, a lot stubborn. Okay. And that thing is nasty. Look at the shit that's in there. Let me go give that a rinse. I'll be right back. Okay, so the kit wants you to put in this new tapered plug with an O-ring on it. No O-ring on the bottom of the filter. This spring and this new end plate. Okay, and then the filter. It's not in all the way. Filter and the spring. Okay, after some manipulation with a file, I got that plug to fit. So next we have to put in these two shift solenoids. So this one is the replacement for this one. Little lube on here. You'll notice that the original solenoids look different. The replacement ones actually look the same. The replacement one actually has a movable hold down on it, depending on your application. So the two solenoids function the same. So I guess that makes it easier, you know, I guess to sell one part instead of two. All right. While we're over here, we'll change out the pressure regulator. Our new one. Solenoid. Pop that clip out. Pull that guy out. This transmission had 186,000 miles on it, I'm pretty sure. It's 180 something. And if you're going to go through a full rebuild like this, I don't see why anybody would not change the solenoids. Cheap enough. Okay. And step 4, we have to install a relief assembly, and I guess the relief assembly will wind up in that spot we drilled that hole through. So it says to install relief assembly cover with 2 valve body bolts using the nuts supplied. There's the 2 nuts. We have 2 valve body bolts. It says to drill down right through the middle with the 3/16 drill bit. It's an awful wobbly drill bit they gave me. And when you're done, you have a hole right through the middle there. That actually worked nice. Take the cover off. Give this a little blast of air. So this cover gets this little relief valve here. Excuse me. Spring valve. And then this E-clip goes on here. I need a pair of pliers for that. Is to reinstall this again temporarily. Is to take a hammer and lightly strike the top of that to make a seat 2 or 3 times. I know that was 4. I guess it made a nice little seat. Okay, so I guess we'll put that aside. And step 6. Discard original plate. Use chart below to drill holes A, B, and C on transgo plate. Line gaskets while assembling new plate 2 valve body. Okay, so give us this nice new plate here. Laminated. Looks like it's 3 layers. So I'll drill the holes in it. Put this aside. I'm gonna go find the drill bits, so I'll be back in a sec. Alright, so I talked to Jerry and he wants to do average. We can do soft, hard, or average shifts. So there's 3 holes. There's A for 4th, there's B for 3rd, and C for 2nd. I've marked them with a Sharpie so I could see them. So I've put a 86 thousandths drill bit in here. I'm going to drill these out. Alright, I almost forgot we have this force motor screen that's over here. I should replace. Although I cleaned that one out pretty good. New screen. Use it. Okay. Alright, so anyway, back to big gasket, plate, White spring, stock spring. Third accumulator. Fourth accumulator. And then our housing. That would have been a bad day. Don't forget your gasket. Let me go find the torque spec for this. Okay, so there is a torque of 97 inch-pounds, and there's actually a sequence too. So I've marked it on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Our valve body is done. So I'm going to bring the camera over to the transmission, and we'll lay the check balls in, and we'll install this baby. Okay, so I've put my check balls in place per the Transgo diagram, and we leave this one out. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 instead of 8. This gasket in place. Valve body that we just got done building. Very important, don't forget to align the selector valve. Oh, I'm hung up on my servo. That's supposed to do that. Drop all these bolts in place. Okay, so I put all the bolts in, and now we're going to torque them to 116 inch-pounds. Note the pressure assembly here, the pressure sensor, is held in with the bolts that have the 8mm heads, and the rest of them are 10mm heads. So let's get going here. All right, so we're pretty much in the home stretch here. We got all the all the bolts torqued, and of course the camera messed up again. So sorry about that. So this is the gasket for the filter, or the seal for the filter. Excuse me. That just goes there. New filter. In. Oh, something that's important of noting. So remember we changed all the solenoids. So these two new ones, like I said, are kind of universal. The one thing that is different about the original ones is, if you look, this plug has the tab on the top and this has the tab on the side, but these will take either one. So the old solenoid, one had a short tab and one had a long tab. Well, this is the short tab and it goes for this side. If you look, it has the side mounts for the connector lock. So just take note, if you use this type, just don't mix them up. So that's that. So let me go grab the pan and the gasket. All right. So anyway, we've got the pan gasket in place here. We've got the filter. I had to actually move this this wiring over because it was underneath the filter and wasn't sitting right. And we've got our pan. It's all cleaned out. 2 magnets inside. Stick that in place. All right, so pan's on. 18 foot-pounds. Okay. That looks like she's done. All right, so we're done. The speed sensor's back in place over here. We installed a new manual lever position